The Rays did it, Ulises. They won a game. They did it.
I can't believe it, but they did. It's July and they won a game. We're so happy. Tyler Glasnow was awesome. Pete Fairbanks was awesome too. Let's talk about it right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also follow us on the social medias at Locked On Rays and email us anytime. We are always taking and accepting mailbags, voice memos, what have you, lockedonrays@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM as well. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays defeat their Citrus Series rivals, the Miami Marlins, by a score of 4-1 at the Trop. The Rays improved to 62-42, and the Marlins fall to 54-48. And Ulises, as you mentioned off of the jump, Tyler Glasnow, among others, was impressive, fantastic, amazing, going 7 strong innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, 2 hits, and 2 walks. Seemingly had everything working, particularly the fastball, where he was able to locate it up, down, glove side, get called strikes, get swings and misses, and then complement that with the slutter and curveball and his other offerings. And that's what you need. That's what we talked about with the starting pitchers, Glasnow especially, is we need you to start going 6 2/3, 7. Get us to the 7th inning so you can lessen the load, the pressure, and the window for teams to pounce on what has been a shaky bullpen.
It's good to know that Tyler Glasnow is a fan of Locked On Rays. I just have to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler, thank you for listening. You always have an open door policy here at the show. He listened to yesterday's program. We said need Tyler Glasnow to get that length in, to be that stopper, to just kind of carve up this Marlins lineup. Boom. That's exactly what happens. This is probably his best outing of the year. And that's exactly what they need to now do. Look, nobody's asking these pitchers to do more than they can.
Right.
But given the state of the offense / their opponents in front of them right now, unfortunately, that's the game. You guys have to be the ones that step up, and he was able to do that. By the way, before we get too in depth into the recap of it all, how do you feel about Citrus Series? Is it dumb? Is it funny? Is it you don't care? Is it an indifference? Because with the Marlins, I do like them as a franchise. I feel like there is no real rivalry. I want to win it, but I like the Marlins. I've always liked the Marlins. Like it's never like those damn fish. It's never like that for me. I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I think it's more indifference than anything. If you have a situation where both of these teams are competitive year in, year out, making the playoffs year in, year out, then it might be a different story. But it's been the Rays that have been extremely dominant in the Citrus Series, so that maybe causes it to lose a little bit of the luster. I wouldn't want to see it go away. I think it's always fun to play the Marlins and play a National League team and see how both franchises shake up. And I do think it is interesting, maybe more so now than it has been previously, in the sense that the Marlins now have some notable former Rays players on their roster, or former Rays farmhands on their roster, from Joey Wendell to Jesus Sanchez. And I think I'm missing a guy or two out there, but it's definitely not like, oh my gosh, Citrus Series, let's get hyped up for it. It certainly did not have the pizzazz of the Rays facing this year the Orioles or the Rangers or another AL East foe, or I don't think it's as notable as facing the Astros later on this weekend either. But I will say I do like these 2-game series spurts in the sense of that is bookended by Rays off days. And if the Rays win tonight, then they can legitimately say, hey, we have a series sweep, whether it's 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, 7 games. They at least can put that on their mantelpiece, if you will.
Yeah, a series sweep. And if it's a 2-game or if it's a 4-game, it doesn't matter. It was a series, was it not? And it was a sweep, was it not? So yeah, I agree 100% with you. If they're able to get it done tonight, Zach Eflin goes tonight, correct?
This afternoon, yes. Zach Eflin versus Sandy Alcantara. And you may say, oh my gosh, Sandy Alcantara, what are the Rays going to do? But Alcantara has not been his normal self from prior iterations. He's getting BABIP'd a little bit. His left on base percentage is lower than it's been in years past. His strikeout rate's down, his walk rate's up, his home run rate is up, and voila, you get a 4.7 ERA out of that. But he is an innings eater, and he can go off when the occasion occurs. So he's definitely not a guy to take lightly, but it's not.
No.
I would think, again, just on paper, the Rays and Zach Eflin should have the advantage here.
Yeah, Zach Eflin has been pitching great, so I agree with you that they should have the edge. But again, it's an afternoon game. I know you hate those, Kevin. I know you hate those, but perhaps there's some luck in there that the boys can actually get a day and a half of rest, which would be very nice for them. Everybody's we've all been talking about the schedule and how it has been nuts for them this whole year. And so maybe there's some type of normalcy coming up for them. You know, they can get a happy trip, right? Because they're going to Houston. So they get a nice flight back home if they win, and they can rest up, eat some barbecue. I would eat some barbecue in Houston. I don't know. You've gone to Houston before, and I'm sure you've had some.
Yes, the barbecue is amazing in Dallas, Frisco, Houston, wherever it may be. The weather is also great there as well, and hopefully the Rays can bring a couple of W's with them. We do have more to discuss about this game because while you look on paper, say, oh, 4-1 victory, what's so special about that? But there were some interesting occurrences and maybe some things to build off for the Rays, aside from what Tyler Glasnow did, aside from what Pete Fairbanks did. We'll get to that, all of that. But first, we have to tell you this. Do you want to, or do you want the chance to win more money with less picks? Of course you do. So head over to Sleeper, where you can win up to 100 times your money on just 2 or more fantasy baseball picks. On Sleeper, you can swing for the fences with up to 100 times payouts. All you have to do is choose 2 or more players that you like and select more or less on their stat categories like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Maybe Brandon Lau is a candidate for Sleeper in the coming days. We'll see. So get your picks right and you could win big. Like I said, there are a bevy of stat categories to place contest on: home runs, triples, stolen bases, and on it goes. So use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. We always like that. Terms and conditions apply. Be sure to see Sleeper's terms of use for details. They are currently operational in over 30 states, so check out Sleeper today. All right, so Ulises, besides Tyler Glasnow going 7, he also went 7 in his last start and at least 6 in his start before that, so maybe it was a progressive buildup for him coming back from injury. So based on what we saw last night and we're starting to see, hopefully this is a trend and a theme for him to be more like vintage Glasnow when he's healthy, of course. And then Pete Fairbanks dialing up the 100-mile-per-hour fastballs to garner the save. Jason Adam, he can thank the lucky stars on Jose Siri and Luke Raley and others for helping to bail him out there. Aside from all that, what else, if anything, stuck out from this contest?
There are a couple of things. Number one, like you said, the Jose Siri catch as a defensive
Just coming into the
replacement.
game, too.
Just coming into the game.
He can make catches like that seemingly in his sleep. Kevin Kiermaier, who? Jose Siri, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, he does give you KK Peak 2015 vibes, the easiness of these plays that he makes. And like defensive replacement, that's not easy. That's not easy coming in cold from a game and doing it without the dreads.
They are gone.
There?
Yeah.
They're gone, and they won.
Yeah.
The curse of the dreads has been a talk on anti-social media. I believe they went like 5-16 or something like that after the whole dreads thing. So
I could see how they would be distracting, especially when you're swinging or chasing after a fly ball, maybe a little extra weight. You can't move as swimmingly. I know with running backs in the NFL, not saying it slowed guys down, but players who do have dreadlocks, you do have the risk of those dreadlocks getting pulled and tethered in all different directions.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah,
that
very,
would
very painful.
Like on a tackle or something that they would, get pulled down by them. Oh, that would suck.
So Jose Siri, hopefully sans dreads, maybe that will elevate his on-base percentage 40 or 50 points. Let's get above 300, folks. Please. That would be nice. Again, and not crapping on Jose Siri, he is the clubhouse leader in home runs right now with the big 2-0, in addition to his defensive prowess.
No.
Very difficult to have those in concert, a guy who can make any and every play from the center field position while leading the team in home runs. That does not come around every day.
I don't think you're crapping on Jose Siri at all. I think we're crapping on everybody else saying, hey, Jose Siri is leading in the home run category, people. Where are you? Josh Lowe, Randy Arozarena, Isaac Paredes, Brandon Lau. Get it going.
Yeah.
The defensive wizard is actually leading the team in home runs. So yeah, maybe that'll get them going. No, another thing that I liked about the game was in the second inning, they have already a run in. It's 1-0. I believe it was man on first and third or first and second. I forget. I think first and third. Yeah, Margot was on third. Josh was on first. Bethancourt's up to bat. He gets a walk. Very good walk. I like that walk. Bethancourt is not a guy that's going to be getting so many walks as you would hope with his power component. It's not. I think it's not because pitchers are not usually trying to get off the zone. It's just that he chases quite a bit. Or if he doesn't chase, that's not his MO to wait up for that walk. So that walk was very important because it set up Yandy Diaz to get that big hit to kind of not open the game up. Because a 3-0 should not open the game up. But when you're facing a team that's won 1 out of their last 9 games, and it's not a very offensively prowess team like the Miami Marlins, then yeah, maybe putting a 3 runs up by the end of the second inning, it's like, okay, at least our side can breathe. We're giving our boy Tyler Glasnow some room to breathe. And by the way, I have just looked this up, and he does chase a lot. So I was right. I just didn't. Again, like I said the other day, we don't just talk here on this show. We show numbers. Christian Bethancourt is on the. Well, you know what? Okay, a little trivia on this morning. What percentile do you think Christian Bethancourt lies in chase rate?
I would say. Oh, this is on Savant. So his chase percentage. Probably bottom 10% of the league, and I would venture to guess that Jose Siri is also right on the dial with him, more or less.
Well, Christian Bethancourt is on the first percentile, people. It is as a blue as you could possibly get, and the walk rate is at 3%, so also not good. And Jose Siri on the other side, let's see, chase rate is on the 8th percentile, and walk rate is in the 22nd percentile. So yeah, both guys that do not like to take their walks. But that's my machine, Siri, that gets awake every time I say Jose's name. So sometimes you might just have to say Jose while recording the show. But no, that I think that walk was really important because it sets up Yandy. It just gives you a little bit of you take the baton.
Yes.
Like, hey, let's
Oh,
keep
yeah.
it looking. Yeah.
And that's the thing about Yandy Diaz. He is not only a rally starter, but a rally finisher as well, whether he's hitting a base hit the other way, a double, or a home run. And I'll be really curious to see what the diagnosis is with that groin tightness, because that is unfortunate considering he's, I don't even think it's arguable. He is one of the top 5, top 10 players or hitters in all of MLB, at least this season. He is 5th in batting average. He is 6th in on-base percentage. He is 8th in OPS. And surprisingly, maybe he is 16th in all of baseball in slugging percentage as well. So hopefully it's just a day or two of rest, and that gets him back in the fold. He's been relatively healthy this season. I mean, playing 86 of 104 games this season. We've seen more injury-heavy seasons for Yandy, but I think the reason, or one of the reasons, that the Rays were confident in giving him a multi-year deal was because the last 2 seasons he had played at least 130 games. So if you can get, between 135 to 140 games from Yandy Diaz, sign up for that every day and twice on Sundays. So hopefully it's a very limited absence for him, because clearly he's he might be the team MVP when it's all said and done this year.
100%. And you talk about him being a little bit more healthy on the field this year. Also not playing third as much.
Yeah, I think that's a byproduct as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely a factor. So yeah, you're right. Hopefully it's nothing big. We already mentioned the fact that it's an early game, plus it's an off day on Thursday. So maybe that gives them time to just, hey, he's definitely not going to be in the lineup today. He gets the rest day, and maybe that they take Friday off, and so they can give him like 3 straight days of rest, which would be kind of helpful. Now, the last thing I want to point out was the running game last night. I believe it was 3 outs made at third. Am I correct?
I believe that is correct. Yes, and I will say, I think that is a little bit of the Rays' MO, is not to get out at third every time, but when you have a 2-3 run lead and you're slightly in the driver's seat, is to push the pedal to the metal and be a little bit more aggressive. But you also have to have smart aggressiveness, not silly aggressiveness.
I'm with you. Yeah, there. I will have this. I usually don't have this take. I'm always like, hey, let's go aggressive, and that's fine. The out to third, you're like, oh, come on, 1, 2, 3, that's a lot. But even then, I would usually say, come on, guys, like let's clean it up. I'm going to go the other way. I'm glad that they got out at third. And hold up, stay with me, people. Why am I glad that they got 3? They got out at 3 times at a third.
Can you name all the 3 guys, by the way?
Josh, Randy, and Lowe?
I believe it was, and check me on this on YouTube, guys.
I said Josh twice.
No, so yeah, X marks the spot on that one.
Yeah.
Randy, Manny, and Luke Rayleigh trying to leg out a triple.
Manny. It wasn't Josh.
And then Randy had the one where, I don't know what that was.
Yeah. However, usually I would be upset that there were 3 outs made at third base. Stay with me. I'm glad. Why am I glad? Because they finally, for a while, they haven't looked alive, people.
Yeah.
They've looked dead on the field. They've looked like they don't care at times. They look like they were just going through the motions. Last night, it looked like they were going for it. Like, we're going to take this. This is ours. We are better. We are going to make that extra step. I'll take that right now because those 3 outs, although very unnecessary and sometimes scratching your head like, what is going on?
Yes.
I'll take that for the context. For the context of what this team is going, for what the fandom has been experiencing as an audience this whole July that has been dreadful, 5-14. I'll take those 3 outs at third because we actually finally get to see them trying, going for it, and giving the audience some sort of like, hey, this matters to us.
That's understandable. And the old adage is you don't want to make your first or last out at third. And I think the Rays did that 2 of the 3 times, at least once, certainly. But I also understand, and for example, like Luke Raley trying to turn a double into a triple, you might think, well, why does he really need that third bag? And I understand and can levy with that. But we've seen, and it's happened against the Rays, is having a runner at third just elevates the pressure points for the defense, for the battery of the pitcher and catcher. Guys throw a lot of junk, and it's hard to stay in front of that junk if you're behind the plate. So we see many a pass balls that happen, whoever's fault it is, whether it's the pitcher or the catcher, just a bad bounce, and a guy is able to score from third. So I think that brings an added level of gamesmanship to things.
You know what would be a cool thing with the nastier pitches that are being thrown every day? Are wild pitches plus passed balls, are they increasing each year now? You know, usually I would think so, right? Because I mean, sometimes they're just putting guys out there that has nasty spin rate, nasty stuff. Oh, look at the stuff plus. The location plus, however, is like a cool 32. That would be very interesting, and so that would make it that, you know, your percentages of actually scoring from third without having the ball put in play, you know, larger than usual. It just happened to the Rays with Pete Fairbanks in Texas, didn't it?
Yeah,
you losing a wild pitch. So no, right. I again, not ideal. In any other context, I would be very upset that 3 outs were made at third. Today, considering where we have been in July, I'm glad to see the boys, 3 different players, saying, I need that extra bag. I want that extra bag. The sense, the impetus was nice.
And people might get on us. They might not. I don't know. But we have gone 22 minutes plus in this episode without giving some love and attention to Brandon Lowe. First 3-hit game in, I think, 74 years. That is the exact number. You might have to check on that.
No, 100%. Yeah.
The multi-hit game plus the bomb on a first pitch, which was a moonshot. So maybe this is the impetus of a Brandon Lowe hot streak. God knows he certainly needs one of those. Hey, Brandon Lowe, just giving you some pointers here. Capitalize on the first pitch. Capitalize early in counts. We saw it on the home run. Swing was compact, in sync, no wasted motion. Also, alternatively, he made some really swift maneuvers defensively, showing range, going across his body, throwing across his body, making plays on the shortstop side, backside. Like, he was seemingly all over the place. And I know Brandon Lowe is never going to win a Gold Glove, but if he makes plays like that, you can stomach Taylor Walls being out of commission for a little bit. So hopefully it is starting to come together for Brandon Lowe, because he clearly, obviously, is a critical piece for this team and offense. But again, we've seen Brandon Lowe is kind of an enigma to me. Sometimes he looks like one of the best players in baseball, and sometimes he looks like one of the worst players in baseball. We've seen him drop can of corns. We see him, miss breaking balls by 3 feet. Like, when he's off, he is off. But when he's on, look out. And maybe this is the start of something.
Yeah, hopefully. Look, after you got me with a can of corn, damn it, that was funny.
Well, that happened, did it not? I mean,
yeah, it does, and it can be very infuriating. Now, post All-Star, he's had 42 plate appearances. He has 2 home runs in that time. He's hitting .243 with an on base of .333, a slugging at .486. So that's an .819 OPS. It's a very healthy OPS, but we know that Brandon Lowe has a higher ceiling than that, but it's nice to see it, improve. So it has been coming on for a while. And you can only hope that this is just him heating up the motors. Now, I have never seen Brandon Lau be on that stretch where we all like Brandon Lau, where the whole fandom is like, oh, he's killing it, for longer than 2 months. 3 months is a stretch. It's July 26th. So let's say it starts, even though it started like a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
Let's say that it starts today, July 26th. Let's play a fun game. 3 months from now, it would be the end of October. So could he just turn it on and just be this guy throughout the rest of the season plus the playoffs? We can only hope so. If Brennan Lau were to be the guy that he can be during October, it would be very difficult for the Rays to lose games offensively.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the odds in the history is that if the Rays have an extended playoff run, Brandon Lau will go like 3 for 23. So just saying.
There's also the 120 at-bats in the playoffs that do suggest that he hasn't had the best of luck. Yeah.
He's got to make the playoff roster.
Oh, people are gonna get on you for that.
That would be an interesting dynamic.
Oh, he's fine. Hopefully he can turn it on and everything. We need him. We need Brandon Lau to be Brandon Lau. This concoction that we have been getting for the last 2 years now, and it's been 2 years, people. 2021 was 2 years ago. The last 2 seasons have been just not what has been expected from him. And I know that he's probably number one on the list that he hates the production that he's been having. So hopefully this is the start of something good and new for the Rays and himself.
All right. Let's see if the Rays get the W today. We know they need it. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.